सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानकुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क है। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा है। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to Sunday morning webinar. This is Gaurav, Marya. I am the chairman of Franchise India. A very special welcome to all of you on a special webinar called Successpreneur. This is a series we started about 3 months back to really encourage people to make an important decision in their life when they are looking to buy a business. And I'll share some thoughts in terms of when you're looking to buy a business, what kind of so to say preparation you need to do or training you need to do, and how to choose the right business, because it's a very important and critical decision, which is sometimes very, very difficult. I'll give you an example. Franchise India in the last 2 years have done many webinars. We do almost 2 to 3 webinars every single day. And over 1 million people have attended these webinars. And out of them, very few have really taken a decision to start a business. What happens to a lot of others who came for these webinars, who really wanted to look at starting their own business, or probably some people have actually done multiple times webinars, but they're not able to take a decision. Why they're not able to take a decision? Because they're not too sure what business is right for them. Is it right time for them to invest? Or there are a lot of other complexities which come around. So today's webinar is really designed to give you that a little bit of mindset in terms of when you're looking at starting a business, what you need to really prepare yourself. Because if you're not prepared, this would never happen. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover in terms of how to structure your mindset to be prepared to be an entrepreneur. That's very important. And my journey of last 30 years and 24 years in franchising, been able to help millions of people across India and overseas in terms of decision making on starting an entrepreneurial journey. I know unless and until you have a firm mindset, you will never be able to take the right decision. So we'll talk about the mindset, what it really does. Then we'll talk about how to choose the right business, what kind of industry, brand, business model is right for you, because every person is unique. Every location you want to set up a business is unique. So you need to really be very sure that what fits into your portfolio. Then we'll also talk about if you want to choose a franchise, because franchise is the preferred way of doing business, what kind of franchise you should really choose. And why are you choosing that? You should choose a unit franchise, area franchise, or even a master franchise. Why you want to really make that decision, and what it takes to really come into franchise. And then we'll talk about a little bit of risk, because we always talk about opportunities and the returns they get, but we never talk about the risk they carry, because it's also very important for you to evaluate that risk, because unless and until you evaluate the risk reward ratios, you will not be able to take it forward. Then I'll give you a little bit on what I call the life cycle of a business. How do you start, how you fund your business, how do you make the business model sustainable and eventually create value. And then finally, we'll talk about a little bit on Franchise India and the services Franchise India offers to entrepreneurs. So let me give you a little overview what Franchise India, if you don't know about Franchise India. So Franchise India was started in 98, where we wanted to really bring a lot of global brands to India. Over the last 24 odd years, we brought over 400 global multinational companies to Indian markets. Some of the brands you visit or you go for eating out or fashion or luxury or hospitality have been brought by Franchise India. But our real journey really started in 99 when we started helping local brands, which are homegrown brands, and helping them to scale their business opportunity through franchising. And on the other side, we started working with investors. And there was a large, demand side in India because there was no platform. There was no platform for people to really go and choose the right business. So we started a magazine in 99 called Franchising World. It was the first business opportunity magazine in this country. I always tell that before Franchise India, there used to be a lot of newspapers and a lot of other magazines, but they all used to talk about people who are successfully doing other businesses and so on and so forth. And a small business owner used to look at these magazines and say, what can I do out of this? So I was myself a small business owner. And I used to feel that I'm reading Economic Times, I'm reading Business India, Business World, all these magazines, but there is nothing for me. So I started a magazine called Franchising World, which was a business opportunity magazine. So when you pick up the magazine, every page would give you some opportunity you can start. And that really became a very big success story. It still runs across India as most circulated business magazine in the country. And then we added two more magazines called Retailer, and then we added world's biggest entrepreneurial magazine called Entrepreneur. And apart from that, Franchise India launched shows, exhibitions, forums. As we speak today, my show is going on in Bangalore and one show is going on in Ranchi. And if anybody out of you, a lot of people have joined in, are in Bangalore or Ranchi, you can go there. Yesterday, we had a show which was happening in Ahmedabad, and there was another show happening in Hyderabad. So every day, Franchise India would have multiple events, shows, physical events. And this has come a long journey. We've done over 1,000 physical large shows. Our annual show used to be the biggest show. The last 2 years, because of COVID, we were not able to do. But this year, again, it is coming back. It's called the Franchise India Show, which happens in Pragati Maidan. And this has about 1,000 opportunities on display. There is no show like this in the world. 45,000 odd people come in and they choose opportunity. And I used to get surprised that this is a demand in this country. There used to be about 1 million likes every month on our website, franchiseindia.com. And if you come to this show, they will sign a 1 kilometer line to get inside the show. So this is a demand which we have. People are so aspirational to start their own business, and they're looking for choices, what business they should invest on. And this is a platform which we created. We're very proud today. We operate in about 94 cities and help people in terms of choosing the right business. So let's get started. I'll start with one big question, and everybody should be answering that question. How many of you, and use the Q&A box, there is a Q&A box which you can answer. And this would set a mindset. This would set a tone for our webinar. And more you interact, I can tell you, you will be able to take home some meaningful understanding out of this webinar. So in the Q&A box, you can answer that. How many of you are looking to start a business in next 60 to 90 days? Quickly give me an answer. Mr. Khanna raised the hand and he must be saying that he wants to do it, but write on the Q&A box. There is a Q&A box. There is Mr. Goyal, Devender Goyal. Yes, he's keen. So he says, I'm keen. I want to start. I want to look at other answers also. I will encourage everybody to go out and tell. And if you don't have 60 days in mind, you have 1 year in mind, you have 6 months in mind, you have 30 days in mind, whatever is in your mind to start a business, or you're not sure. And I can tell you 75% of people are not even sure. So use the Q&A box and give me the answer, because this is a starting point. Rajinder Bhandari says 60 days is very early, maybe next 1 year. Now, this is exactly what I was really talking about, Mr. Bhandari. This is exactly what happens to a lot of investors who come to Franchise India. They are exploring opportunity. They are exploring the right opportunity to hit them, but they're not too sure when they want to really start their entrepreneurial journey. All their life, their aspiration to build their own business or do their own startup, but they don't have a date in mind. And this is the biggest problem. Over the years, with interacting with so many millions and millions of entrepreneurs, and I do myself about 300 personal meetings with investors every single month, I know this is the biggest problem. They have no specific timeline for when they want to really start the business. So what happens? They never start the business, which means that they're never able to take that decision. And the decision becomes very big for them. Why? Because they don't have a date in mind. Even if it is after 1 year, there should be a date you have to allocate yourself and say, this is the time I would start my business. Otherwise, it will never happen. And I further define the date. What is date? D stands for discipline. You need to start putting yourself disciplined towards working towards that particular date. And it's an exercise you need to do. You need to prepare yourself. And it's an extreme discipline to be an entrepreneur. Why? Because entrepreneur was not, we were not trained as entrepreneurs. We were in education, in all the education we do, we are trained to be an employee, to work for somebody, or work in some kind of a profession, or learn some skill. That's what we've been trained on, but we were not trained as an entrepreneur. So if you really want to become an entrepreneur, you need to start that journey. And that's very, very important journey. And I feel that even young people, kids from even school, they should be trained to be an entrepreneur. They need to be understanding multitasking, troubleshooting, understanding taking risk. All that are part of your entrepreneur journey. If you're not trained, you will never be able to do that. So the date is very important. The D stands for discipline. A stands for accountability. You need to set yourself accountable to what you want to achieve. T stands for train yourself. You need to train every single day to your entrepreneurial journey. And we all are aspirational. Like I get so many messages, people sending me, I want to invest, but I don't want to work in the business. Can it be a FOCO model? Can somebody give me high return without I participating? All these are what I call lazy investors who don't want to run a business, but they still are aspiration to have good returns. And this never happens. And they get disappointed because they have a wrong expectation for what they want to do. So unless and until you are training yourself to be a great entrepreneur, you want to really give yourself. I like entrepreneurs who say, I will put my 18 hours into the business and I will go out and make this business happen. Those are the people who are successful in life. And then finally, E stands for encouragement. You need to encourage yourself every single day that this is your entrepreneurial journey. This is your mission, or this is your goal in life. And this is what you want to achieve for your family. You want to have a better career or a better, future for your family. And that's why people become entrepreneurs. They don't become entrepreneurs just for their own satisfaction. They become entrepreneurs because they want to do great for their family and for larger, inner circle, so to say, for them. So if you want to really start your entrepreneurial journey, the first thing you need to tell that from today, after this webinar, I'll set a date. I'll set a date. Maybe it is 2 years from now, 3 years from now. It can be, but there is a date. And this date can be your father's birthday, your birthday, your mother's birthday. It can be your first child's birthday, or anything which is there as a date would become the important starting point and say, this is the date where I will commit myself, that I'll train myself and I'll work towards it. And then I'll start my business. So I'll see a few other people are also saying, somebody saying, I want to start in 6 months. So Johnny wants to start in 3 months. And I want to start currently own a franchise store of Speed Force. Okay, he's already a Speed Force. Speed Force is a two-wheeler repair company, and now he's looking to start a second one. Even the second one, Mr. Khanna, you need to really put a date. And I would suggest, why would you not go and open up another Speed Force? This is another mistake a lot of people do. They start exploring a new opportunity and they are trained themselves hard to understand one industry. And why would they not start to do multiple of that, right? Or maybe in the same similar kind of industry. That's also another mistake a lot of people do. They start looking at new opportunities. So they get into, again, a gestation cycle of learning and something new. And unless and until that particular industry you are in, you feel that there is no growth, I will always say, multiply your success. Rather, I have written a book called Reproducing Success. If you have something successful, just keep reproducing and you multiply that. And that's where the opportunity comes in. So first is the mindset, put yourself a date and then ask yourself a few questions, which are very, very important. The first question is, what is your life goal? Because business is going to service your life goal. If you don't define your life goal itself, it will be very difficult to define what business would satisfy you. So people come to me and say, I want a great ROI. And I say, what do you mean by ROI? So it's very difficult because ROI can mean different to different people. Some passive investors are happy with 15%, 18% return on investment on the capital deployed. And there are people who want much more. I get professionals who come and say, I only want to invest 5 lakh rupees, but I want to have 2 lakh rupees every month. Because they compare, because they are in job and they're earning in job 2 lakh rupees or 1.5. And if they want to come in business, they want to make that kind of money, but they don't want to put more capital because they have their very little savings. And so there are businesses like that also, which can give you that kind of return. But these businesses are different. These businesses are, I call the 3 ROI. One ROI is return on investment. Second ROI is return on intelligence. And third is return on involvement. So some businesses only need your time. They're relatively small businesses without not too much of capital. But if you put time and you put your energy and experience, you get the business. But there's some businesses are return on intelligence. Say you're a stockbroker. It's all about intelligence because you know what to bet and you're doing a lot of study. You understand what companies are going to perform. You read almost every day different results which are coming in. You track these companies. Because you're doing that, your returns are great because it's a return on intelligence. A lot of businesses are around that. And then there are classic investment-based businesses, which are where you put your money into business and money makes money. So people bring in sometimes all three. They bring in their capital, they bring in their knowledge or experience, and they bring in their involvement, which means that they bring their time. So you need to understand what are you bringing on that, and then understand your life goals. What is your life goals? What do you want to achieve? And what is going to happen in next 5 to 10 years in your life? What are the major events coming in? Do you have your children's education coming in where you have a big expense? Is there a big marriage which you need to fund? Is there something which is going to happen in next 3 years? Maybe you need to build a house or something which is very, very important going to happen. So if you know your events which are going to come over the journey, say you're starting late now, you're already in your 50s and you don't want to really work beyond say 60 and you do an early retirement and then you want to really cash out. So you have a life goal that I want to put 10 years and after 10 years, I want to retire and I want to have some kind of a cash out on that so that I can spend next 2 decades of my life without even bothering and my life doesn't change. I run a coaching company. It says people who can decide that his or her lifestyle would not change if they stop working right now are the real wealthy people. So unless and until you tell yourself that if I stop working right now, I don't work at all, and my lifestyle would remain same or more, then you're really wealthy. So if you have to set yourself that goal, then what is that goal? And unless and until that goal is very clearly defined, you will never be able to choose the right business because the business has to fulfill your life goals. That's very important. Second thing which you need to honestly ask yourself, what is your risk appetite? How much risk you want to really take? How much risk you can really afford? That's very important because sometimes I know a lot of businesses which didn't do well because the entrepreneur didn't have a risk appetite. So he was not ready for it. So he left the job, came into business, 3, 4, 5 months, business was not doing well. He got really scared, went back to the job because the risk appetite was very, very low and had no planning, no structure being there. So a lot of people lose businesses because one, they are not prepared. Second, they have no risk appetite to do that. So if you have to really define what is your risk, are you a low risk person? A lot of Indians who come into business are in this space. Are you mid risk or you are high risk? And if you're a high risk, why? That's also very important because you need to really ask yourself why you want to take that risk. Do you have a lot of spare cash lying with you, which you can really go out and do that? Or you have a lot of understanding of this industry or what you're betting on, then only you can do that. Another thing which you need to ask is, what is your experience? I always say businesses, if I give same person like Mr. Khanna running Speed Force, if I give Speed Force to 100 people, all 100 would have different results. All 100. Which means that there will be no 2 businesses of Speed Force would be same. So if every business, while the brand is same, but it is creating different results. So it cannot be just capital. If capital was there because everybody invested the same money, but got different result. So which means what you bring outside money is more important. So you need to really ask yourself, what are you bringing in outside the capital to your business which is going to make a difference, which means your experience. You might bring some family members along with you to work along with you. Your location, where you're opening up in that. So all these are very important to understand what is the kind of resources you bring. Then another thing which you need to ask yourself is the 4 fits. Which is the most driving fit for you? There are 4 fits required for every entrepreneur when he starts a business. One is called strategic fit. Second is called financial fit. Third is called operational fit. And fourth is called the marketing fit. Out of the 4 fits, all 4 are important. What is the most critical fit you bring in? Are you somebody who can give 18 hours to your business? Then you're an operational guy. You can really go behind the counter, work in the business, really contributing. Big fit meant to me. I always qualify the most when people are really hands-on to really operate the business. We did a program for KFC where the KFC gave the first operating franchise to their own manager, because they understood this manager was working with them for 5 years, and they gave them Dehradun franchisee to run and operate, because they knew that he will not mind going behind the counter. I get a lot of people who apply for KFC, but they are aspirational for taking KFC, but they will never work in the business. They're just investors. And companies like people who are great operators. So you might have operating fit. Sometimes like we do brands like Vedantu, Unacademy, these are a lot of ed tech companies. The marketing fit is very important. How do you take these businesses go to market? You know, if I take Vedantu in Lucknow, I'm going to really reach out to schools and get inside these institutions and able to sell my product. So marketing fit is very important. But if you're doing a hospital or a large hotel or a big K-12 school, then financial fit is very important, because the gestation cycles can take 5, 6, 7 years. You need to have that kind of a bandwidth, or so to say, cash reserves, so that you are able to handle that kind of gestation. And sometimes strategic can be your location, it can be your experience. There would be something which is greater you bring in on the board. And finally, the business you choose, you need to really ask yourself, what is a larger purpose I'm trying to solve? And unless and until you address that, sometimes we look at opportunity at a micro level. Mr. Khanna took a two-wheeler franchise opportunity, service opportunity, but he has to see that what is next 5, 10 years this industry is going to look like. What is going to disrupt this industry? Suddenly, maybe the e-vehicle space would come in. Would this business would be ready for e-vehicles? What is the total addressable market? So unless and until you do the macro picture, draw that, you will not be able to forecast that this industry would be right for you for next 5 to 10 years. So I say always connect 4 dots. What are these 4 dots? First is a brand. What is the brand which you want to choose? But before you even go to brand, you need to understand the industry. What is the industry you want to choose? So when people come to Franchise India, we work with them to really shortlist the industry. We normally would go out and do 3 to 4 industries and say, these are 3 to 4 industries which are right for you. And that comes from the future of the industry, what is going to happen. We also do a lot of comparatives, and we also understand where you're coming from. What is your aspiration? A lot of times people come to us because they're passionate about doing it, like food. Every second investor wants to do a food business. Now, why they want to do it? They don't understand anything. And I can tell you, if 50 franchisees start in food, 25 fail. And people still want to invest into food franchise without even understanding that it's very complex, very competitive. So many brands open up every single day. You're fighting almost everybody. And unless and until you're a top class operator, you will never be successful in that. But people just want to follow their passion, especially, I mean, I get people coming from IT background and banking background, and they're tired of their jobs and they want to really open up a cafe or a restaurant or a dark kitchen, and they fail because they're not prepared or they're not ready for it. So you need to really understand why you're choosing that industry. It's just not about passion. Passion comes later. I always say, do the business because it can service your life goals. And if you make money, you can follow other passions you have for life. You want to travel overseas, you want to do something in life. All that you can do because you made money. Just following passion would not service you. And if you can get a business which can service both, it can give service to your life goals and also you would be passionate about doing that industry, then it is great. But if has to be made a choice, always choose that what is the business which is going to give your life goals the right thing. So you need to choose very, very carefully the industry which you want to really get into that. And what you bring to that industry is very, very important. So that's one part. The second part is the brand. Why you're choosing this brand over the next brand. Like, for example, Mr. Khanna, I'm taking an example because he's actually mentioned what business he's doing. So he took Speed Force. There is another company called Service Force. There is another company which is part of Mahindra Group, which is running First Choice. And then there are many other players also in the market. Why would you choose one over other? Now, one side you have a brand like Mahindra, now is a partnership with TVS. TVS and Mahindra has come together for aftermarket business. And why would you choose Speed Force versus Mahindra's opportunity? A big question, and maybe you felt that this was right. You never evaluated the other opportunities, or you felt that Mahindra was, because of being a large company, they would not be so flexible. And I wanted a little bit flexibility or something else, or maybe better sport. So unless and until you do a lot of comparatives between these brands, and I can tell you, even today, want to invest into a dark kitchen. There are 100 people who are doing franchising in the market. Out of these 100, how do you choose that one company which is going to be right? So it's very complex, and it's very, very important for you to really do the comparatives. And that's where Franchise India really works with you and help you to do that. Third is your financial aspiration from the business. And that financial aspiration would also come from what kind of capital you want to deploy, what it takes to run that business. That's very, very important. Unless and until you go deep down and do the financial planning, and this is a mistake a lot of people do. When they start a business, they don't do any kind of financial planning. They just go out and invest. And most of the time, if they're buying a franchise, franchisor would give you an Excel sheet and say, your investment is 20 lakh rupees. And they just arrange that 20 lakh rupees, 10, 15 lakh rupees of their own, then they borrow a little bit, and they go out and invest that 20 lakh. By the time you're opening up the business, you realize that this is not 20, this is 25. And then you also realize that there's another 5 lakh rupees because of delays or something else happened or something I never forecasted. It's now become 30. So when you're starting a business, you already stretched, and you have no working capital left with you to run and operate the business, and business dies. Now, who's the at fault? The franchisee blames the franchisor and say, you never guided me right. The franchisor says he had no capital, he spoiled the business, he was not able to run the quality. And eventually, the great dream of owning your own business dies. And I've seen that so many times. There's a mismatch of expectation. So when you are given by somebody that 20 lakh rupees, you need to go to your own place and do your realistic pieces, because everything would change. For example, somebody gave you that my ideal sheet is that you have to do 450 square feet of this place, and you got something which is 600 square feet. The numbers would change. You will have to invest more. So you need to really understand that when you take an ideal situation, unless and until you match with what you're starting as a business, it would never work. So you need to really do your own financial planning. And then once you have done the financial planning, always remember my rule of what I call 60-40. Whatever capital is required to run your business, you need to really have, say if you have initial capex of 20 lakh rupees, then you need to be ready with almost 30 lakh rupees. Then only you can run the business, which I call the 60% of all the capital you have should be deployed on your capex, and 40% on your working capital, which is going to be your initial month's working capital. So unless and until you have this mix right, chances are that you will not be able to succeed. And I can say people who do 50-50 are even better. Even if you are doing 40-60 the other way around, which means that 40% you invest into that, 60% you have for working capital, you're never going to fail. You're never going to fail, because you will turn around, you will pass even difficult times, even if the COVID, lockdown, anything happens, you will be able to pass that business. But the mistake people do is, I can tell you, if 100 investors are coming to us, they pretty much put 100% of their money just to start the business. They have nothing left for working capital, which means they would collapse. No business is going to turn around in the first, second, third, 4th month. So you start borrowing, or you have some other issues. Your vendor payments are not time. You have no money for marketing, and other things start happening. A lot of that issues start binding you, and you're then not really creative entrepreneur. You are troubleshooter. You go every day to just troubleshoot, just somehow manage, and eventually you fail. And because you are troubleshooting, you're not really enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, this will never happen, right? If you're enjoying it, that's why these startups are great entrepreneurs, because they always adequately capitalize the business, and then they enjoy it, because they are always raising money. and the company is adequately capitalized so they can deploy, they can grow the business, they are very creative. So that's how you need to really your journey. So unless or until you are very clear that this is the way I want to run, I would do 60-40, I will only invest 60. And sometimes you're excited about a particular opportunity, but it is not fitting in your financial plan. It's not fitting in your financial plan. The answer for me is drop that opportunity. Absolutely don't get emotional about anything which doesn't fit your financial plan. So 3 dots we've done: industry, brand, your financial planning, and finally is your micro market. What is your micro market? What it tells you? What is the competition? Who's others running? Like again, Mr. Khanna is running this. What was the other competition? And competition can be the roadside garage. Somebody who has no taxation, no official rental. He's sitting on some place which he doesn't have to pay too much of rental. He's a real big competition to you because he's working on a unique circumstances and can give better margins to entire piece. And you are an organized structure, you have taxation, so why would customer who's running a 4-year or 5-year-old bike come to you versus going here because he's going to be cheaper? And so these are very important questions you need to really answer before you step into any kind of a business model. So friends, I'm coming down to the last part of my discussion today. So if you have any questions, use the Q&A box and keep asking questions. I take some questions that have already come in. Yeah, good questions. Mr. Khanna says why I chose Mahindra over Speed Force over Mahindra, because they failed in Bihar due to larger investment. So he took because the capex in Mahindra was much higher than versus it was in Speed Force. So good decision. And if you are right for your decision, then you obviously understand that the capex was a big issue. So they were higher investment in there, and there was lower investment in this business. So great. Thank you very much, Mr. Khanna, to be involved. I like people who come to these webinars and interacting. So let's me start. Another question I want to ask, and if everybody wants to answer that: how many of you are first-time business buyers? First time, you've never done business and you want to really start a business, because this is going to be now my next discussion. Ankit Tiwari, yes, Ankit, if I can have your question. So how many of you are first-time business buyers? Just go out and write that you are first time starting a business, or even you write first, then I can understand that you're a first-time business buyer, that you are in job or you have done some other career job opportunity and you are looking to start a business. And first-time buyer have a different mindset. I have seen 2 extreme cases when people are first-time business buyers. Either they are too impulsive, they just want to get into business and they invest without thinking, or they are too scared, they are not able to take the decision. And I think both are wrong because they're not preparing themselves or studying themselves to be ready to take that decision. But I also get sometimes very intelligent entrepreneurs. I just got a couple who came to me, and for last 6 months, they have attended so many webinars of Franchise India. Every time they attend the webinar, they make notes, they compare notes, they see why this opportunity and versus this opportunity. And they are also planning their funding for the business, how they're going to fund that business, and what roles both husband and wife would play. We're very clear. They wanted to really define the roles between them. And as a professionals, they want to really look at the wife wanted to participate in something else, very clearly supply chain. And the man wanted to be in business development. He wants to do the business and get more business on board. So when you are a first-time business buyer, you are at a risk, I can tell you, because you have never done business. You have no understanding what it takes to business. So my suggestion to everyone is that give yourself 2 to 3 months. Very clearly work strongly on preparing yourself. Maybe start a new diary today and write this is your entrepreneurial journey, and start making notes and compare yourself. I would say take 4 industries, compare deeply into those 4 industries, maybe pick up 10 to 15 brands which you want to deeply study, visit the brand, ask difficult questions. Why me as a franchisee? I've never done business. Why you want to choose me as a franchise? Now, this is a very difficult question for a franchisor to answer. Why you want to choose me? I've never done business and I can spoil your brand. But why you want to choose me? Just because anybody comes to you want to give a franchise? So these are very difficult questions which would get you real answers. You need to also ask how your existing franchisee has performed. What are you going to support me? How are you going to train me? These are all important questions. What is your legal contract? And if tomorrow the business doesn't do well, what happens? What is the plan B? And if my business doesn't take off as it was told to me, what are you going to support me on? So all these important questions you need to really ask yourself. So 4 brands, 4 industries, about 10 to 12 brands. When you evaluate, you will come down to a point where you will probably shortlist 2 or 3 businesses. And those 2, 3 businesses need deeper negotiation. I call the 3 steps what is called the information, evaluation, and negotiation. Always do this in order. First, information. Second is evaluation, and third is negotiation. Information, a lot of information comes from Franchise India. Evaluation, work with our consultants, and they would help you to evaluate the right opportunity. And finally, the negotiation. You need to negotiate your legal and commercial contract very, very strongly with every entire thing. And even if you feel there was something which is non-negotiable for you, and this is not going through, drop it. There is no shortage of opportunity. One thing Franchise India has changed forever in this industry is that when I was starting my business in early days, I used to feel that it was always a seller business model. You know, every company comes in. Those days, NIT used to franchise. And I remember in Chandigarh, they came, stayed in a hotel, put a small advertisement and said, we are looking for a franchisee in Chandigarh. And there was a queue. Everybody wanted to apply for this NIT franchise. And they were just saying, why you and why not this person? And they were in a situation where they were selecting. And everybody was just trying to do interview with them that I get selected. And I didn't like that. I said, if somebody has money to invest, should have right to choose. Like we do. I mean, you have money, you want to buy a shoe, you have choices. You can buy Nike, Adidas, Reebok, anything you can buy. And that's something which stuck me. And I said, I will change this industry forever. And today people come to Franchise India shows, and so many brands I want to sell you, and you choose what business you want to really choose. So there is no shortage of opportunities. There are so many opportunities available there. So once you have really done this exercise called information, evaluation, and negotiation, you will likelihood choose the right opportunity. Somebody says Ankit wants to start a restaurant, Indian restaurant in a small Etawah. Etawah is a popular city, and in our 25,000 campus, which is a hotel and banquet, there are many opportunities we have. Ankit, you can reach out to our business hotline number. I think my colleague Kanika would put the business hotline number. You can send us and we can give you a lot of choices. We have Franchise India has about 12,000 brand library, and any given point in time, 1,000 brands are actively franchising. So there is no shortage. So there's a huge opportunity which is available. We can help you to get classic brands and old brands like Kareem's and likes of them, which is a 100-year-old brand, to new age modern brands. But I think for Etawah, I would say take something which is, we are also doing some thali restaurants, some interesting, theme-based restaurants, which can do very well because you have a hotel also in that place. And Vikas Singhal is the first-time business buyer. He comes from channel sales. So channel sales, you understand distribution, right? So that's how you come from. So you need to really see how your 20 years of experience can complement what business. And any business like these days, edtech companies or a lot of other companies need people like you because they need distribution. And you have experience of distribution and handling a channel under you, or any business where you can build channel. So that also can be interesting opportunity. And Mr. Khanna says, I want to invest in food and beverage. Again, it's a difficult industry, but if you want to do it, there are many choices you can have. Rather, Franchise India has over 200 brands only in food, from multinational QSR opportunities to fine dine, to dark kitchens, to microbreweries, to all sort of businesses which we have. Madesh wants to start a business, and a Nukkad Dhaba, we have Nukkad Dhaba also, Ankit. So that also is one of our opportunities. So friends, go out and write anything else which comes to your mind, which you want to really need help on. Franchise India helps you to choose the right opportunities. So quickly, I will do the last part of my business is really to understand the life cycle of business. So once you choose the right opportunity, it goes through 4 stages. The stage 1 is setting the foundation or incubating your own business. This is where also a lot of entrepreneurs go wrong, because in the first quarter, when they start a business, they start making too much of spend, on marketing and doing things, and because they don't know the business. At that stage, you're not even learned your own business, and you're doing wrong decisions. And all the wrong decisions really happen in the first 3 to 4, 5 months of you starting a business. I feel that time you need to be extremely conservative. You need to really set a role for yourself. You need to tell yourself that every day I will do another duty in my own business and run every single process which happens in the business, so that I champion my business. So business comes in my control. I'm not really, able to, I mean, you don't think about at that stage growth or scaling or entire thing. Just get your business in control. That's what I call the foundation stage. Once that is done, then get on to the second stage, which is more about really bringing stability to your business. Now you don't have people leaving, you have a same team which is stable now, and the business is coming in control, and you are cash flow positive, which means that you are now breaking even. You don't have to put more money from your side in that business. That's a great point to be reaching in. Normally it happens in 5 to 6 months. You come down to that stage. Third stage, which is actually the exciting stage for every entrepreneur, is your growth stage, where you want to really grow the business. Now you want to really go and get more customers in, and you want to take to the next level. And finally, you want to make the business model sustainable. How it happens? That the business can run without you. So if Mr. Khanna can say, today I've set this up, my speed force business, and this runs without me. I know the processes, what happens. I get daily reports. I know exactly what is happening in my business, how many customers I acquire new, how many customers are old, which are coming back to me, how I'm improving my margins, how much productivity I'm getting from every single person, every single station. Like in service, auto service station, you have 3 or 4 stations. What is the turnaround per station I'm getting? So if he has all that data and the business doesn't know, he can sit anywhere and know how the business is running. At the stage you are able to build that sustainability, that business has built value. Now it has built value. Even you want to sell that business to somebody and cash out, you can do that. And people who do this journey of taking it from what I call incubation to stability to growth to sustainability are the most successful entrepreneurs. And that's what the message I always give from this Successpreneur webinar, that if you really are somebody, from choosing the right business opportunity and choosing that opportunity, go back and understand it can only happen if you have set the right mindset, and you also prepare yourself, and finally you understand your life goals and match that opportunity, what opportunity you want to choose. Then go on the 4 dots, which I said, how to really narrow down to a particular brand you want to take, negotiate hard, because that's very, very important, and that's your right to do that. And then finally go through this whole 4 stage life journey of business. And if you are able to do these 3 in order, you are most likely not going to fail in your business model. So it's a very important decision of your life. Don't take it just in rush. Take advice from Franchise India. We have helped, million people, over 1 million people in terms of taking the decision of starting a business. Our consultants are available in 94 cities. So if you are really serious about starting a business, take help from Franchise India. We have a service called Advantage. Now, this Advantage service is specially designed for people who are confused, who are not able to take the decision. They come to us. We put them into a process. This process normally is 60 to 90 days. All that what I've said runs with you. So you don't have to rush. Rather, our teams are trained to not tell you that only do this brand. Unless and until you've seen and worked on 10 or 15 different opportunities and assessed them, and then made a decision with your family, with maybe your chart accountant, with your lawyer friend, all that ecosystem has told you that you are taking the right decision, then go out and take the decision. And if you need our help, or even you want to reach out to me on your thoughts, what you are really coming to you, and you want some kind of feedback, you are most welcome to do that. I'll put my direct email ID, and I'll also put so this is my email ID, gm@gauravmarya.com. Very simple. And if you've not gone to my website, please go gauravmarya.com. There are a lot of other videos, webinars, and I talk about scaling a business, investing into businesses, also talk about exit. I also talk about how you exit your business. That's also a piece. And I also put a business hotline number. (971-7683838). This is our business hotline number. You need to send a small WhatsApp, and the nearest consultant would reach out to you immediately. You'll also get continuously, invitations of our webinars. We every day have a 12 o'clock webinar where we bring in new opportunities. You will also get that. So you have to just save this number and send a WhatsApp 97176838838. This would be your first step towards your entrepreneurial journey, and we'll keep sending you newer opportunities. Don't rush into any opportunities. Make the right decision, and once you are sure that you want to take the decision, we'll be more than happy to help you choose the right brand. And if you are looking for help, genuinely help, and really want to take a good consultant along with you who can work as a coach to you, guide you through in terms of what opportunity is right, please again reach out to our business hotline number. So thank you, friends. Thank you for joining on this Sunday morning. I know it's a family day. You have a lot of other plans, but if you are coming on this webinar on Sunday, 10 o'clock, that means that you're very serious about your entrepreneurial journey. I welcome that. And I also encourage you to start entrepreneurial. The only way we can help this country to be a bigger economy and all the dream of $5 trillion and things like that can only happen from entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship also from a micro entrepreneurship. When we become somebody who can give more jobs to other people, really create ideas which can flourish, do the problem solving, then this nation can really become a giant economy. Every day, like the British Prime Minister was there, everybody talks about what opportunity we hold, but unless and until we create this environment of micro entrepreneurship to flourish, this would never be a fulfilled dream. So we all can really put our contribution in that. Franchise India is trying to put that contribution in encouraging micro entrepreneurship. You all can do that contribution, but we don't have to rush and do a mistake in that journey, because I know once you have done a mistake and you have a failed business, it doesn't only impact you financially, it impacts you emotionally, socially. A lot of other issues start happening in your life. And if it works well for you, everything changes. Everything changes. There is nothing like being an entrepreneur. There is no career which can be more rewarding and exciting than being an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur, you're building something, and we all here in given this opportunity to change things or build things, and that's what you do as an entrepreneur. So great to have you, all of you, and please reach out to our business hotline number, and we'll be more than happy to help you, advise you, guide you through, and mentor you through your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.